The first gooning community I was ever a part of was a Facebook group called the Iowa State Jerkers.
I'm aware of some of the things that are happening. There's a lot of things happening right now.
Yeah, we're in the middle of happening season.
Yeah. It's the time of great happenings.
Ron Paul's waving his hands around.
Oh my God.
It's all happening.
I forgot about Ron Paul. Is he still alive?
Oh, yeah. He sure is. He's clinging to life.
Doesn't he have dementia or something?
I think so. I remember seeing like a TV spot he did or something where he just kind of shut down, like Mitch McConnell style.
Oh, yeah, I do remember that. I thought you were going to say that you saw like an ad for him selling gold, like share. Like, I don't know. I think I saw something. It was definitely gold. I think it was like maybe selling like shares in like gold mining companies. Something like that.
How much gold is left to mine? Haven't we dug it all up already?
I don't know. There's all those, you can melt down computer parts and get, little trace amounts of gold.
Sure.
So maybe that's the next frontier.
Is that a type of mining, I guess?
Maybe.
Yeah. Anyway, it's a good time.
It's really
to
good for the environment.
You got to breathe in the gases when you do that too.
Yeah. Oh
Feels
man,
good.
there's like places in poor parts of the world where they just burn like trash, like electronics, and it's awful shit.
Welcome to Rock Hard Caucus, everyone. awful shit. This is our 203rd episode. We're kind of breaking our routine, so I feel a little off doing this on a Friday, but in case anything happens between now and when I release the episode on Sunday, I apologize for our oversight not acknowledging the big news of Saturday, June 21st. I know that that's like looming over everything, but as we often do on the show, we try to focus on smaller, more local issues. And so even though the huge thing that happened on Saturday is on all of our minds, we're just gonna, that's for other podcasts to worry about. The events of Saturday, June 21st. We got our own agenda.
Or even Friday, June 20th, but later in the day. Which, I mean, yes. Friday is the day for bad news drops. So
true. Yeah, we should have waited until like 4 p.m. to record this, just in case.
Yeah.
But we're going to start out with something that I would consider not necessarily bad news. It's bad news for someone, but a news piece that I saw, or actually I think Anastasia first brought this to our attention, from Iowa's News Now on Wednesday. They released this. Something that happened in Busey, Iowa.
Bussy. I believe it's pronounced Bussy. No, I have no idea. But I think it would be cooler if it was pronounced that way.
Busey, Iowa, which I looked up is a town of less than 400 people. Population like 390 or something. But the story reads, a Knoxville, Iowa woman is now charged with arson and indecent exposure after police say she was found partially nude burning stolen American flags. Now, what's partially nude? You can, like, if you have, I'm partially nude right now, right? You can see my face, my arms.
There's
nudity.
different standards for women versus men.
And yeah, it's not fair.
It's not fair at all. So I think in this case, her pants were off, which would also be considered partially nude for a man.
No one's really allowed to do that, unfortunately. I'll continue. Online court documents say Brianna Laird, who is 21 years old, was spotted in Busey, naked from the waist down, lighting American flags on fire at 4:30 a.m. on Monday. So she's Donald Ducking it, burning the American flag.
Must have had a really good evening that led up to that.
Yeah, I will say 4:30 a.m. I mean, you should probably be allowed to just be naked in public at 4:30 a.m.
Yeah, who's going to see it? Some fucking some schmucks are getting off their night shift.
And they'd probably be fine with it, right? Like,
yeah.
Whatever.
Yeah, who cares? They'd probably be happy about it. And burning American flags, like that's something you want to see.
That should probably give you some grace for any other crimes you're committing, right? Like it's all in service of the public service of burning American flags. Whatever I got to do to get there, it's just part of the routine. But yeah, I mean, whoever sees you at 4:30 a.m. naked, like, they got to be down for that too, because they're out at 4:30 a.m.
Mm-hmm.
There should be a grace period. Like, I remember this coming up on a podcast we listened to years ago. There should be a period of time where you're allowed to drive drunk. I don't believe that. However, I will say public nudity should probably be allowed between the hours of is maybe 1 a.m. Is that late enough? Like 1 to 5?
Maybe like a purge, but only for like 2 a.m. to 5 a.m. actually is a little, I don't know. Maybe like 2 a.m. to 4 a.m. She might have missed it by like half an hour. That might be why she got arrested.
Okay, what if we 2 to 4 I feel like is too restricted.
Yeah, but you can't just... People would take advantage of it if it went for too long. No one really wants to be awake at those hours. So,
and they shouldn't be. And so that's why you should have the leeway to, be naked from the waist down.
Yeah, agreed. It's dark also. Like
True, yeah.
You're shrouded by darkness.
Yeah,
darkness is the clothing that you're wearing.
That's a good point. Like, if it's dark out, you should be allowed to be naked.
Yeah.
Just regardless.
Yeah.
Because if somebody sees you, it's like, well, you shouldn't have shined that light on me.
Yeah.
This is on you.
But then again, if you're burning American flags, that is producing light.
That's light. That's right. Yeah.
Yeah.
Deputies say she gave them a false name and punched an officer in the face when they tried to arrest her. So she's also facing a charge of assault on a police officer. Well, that I feel should also probably be legal. Because, like, if someone's trying to arrest you, it's only... I felt this way for a long time. It's a totally natural reaction to resist being arrested.
It is.
Like,
they
it's
also
kind of involuntary.
They're pretty... their standards for what a punch is also pretty lax.
Right, yeah. I mean, we shouldn't ignore this, that this is the media simply repeating what the police told them happened.
Mm-hmm.
Right? So we don't even know what, like, any physical contact from her, they're going to say, assaulting a police officer, because they want to pile on the charges because they love America, probably. They saw her burning those flags. They're like, we got to throw the book at this woman.
Yeah. I mean, you can get beat up by the police and get charged with resisting arrest or assaulting a police officer.
They can assault the hell out of you, and you are the one who gets in trouble for that. Yeah.
Mm-hmm.
The stolen flags belongs to the city of Bussy. It's like you don't even have 400 people in your town. What are you doing buying flags? You don't need those.
Yeah.
And then they say they found a bag on her at the jail that had drug paraphernalia inside it.
Mm.
Her initial court date is today. So I hope that she's got some good representation.
Yeah, I mean, she's young. Yeah, I mean, hopefully it's nothing too bad comes of it.
Yeah, what's the big deal? Somebody's just having a nice time outside, out in nature.
Yeah.
Just doing things that come naturally to a human being. Lighting fires, being naked. I mean, how can those be crimes?
Right. That's what our ancestors did.
We've been doing these things since the dawn of time.
Mm-hmm.
It's in our genes to do such activities. So we wish her the best. If any more news comes about her case, we'll let you know.
But not for like a week plus.
Yeah, for sure. Yeah. How about something a lot worse? The Gazette, Tom Barton of the Gazette reported on, here, I'll just read the headline. Trump hints at greater U.S. involvement in Israel-Iran conflict. Sorry, Iran. Israel-Iran conflict. I can't get the Iowa out of my speech at all times. Iran.
Iran. So far away.
Where do Iowa's members of Congress stand? Can you guess, Evan? Where do our members of Congress stand on greater U.S. involvement in the Israel-Iran conflict?
I actually haven't read this. I'm guessing they probably don't have a problem with it, but there are some Republicans who are, on a bipartisan bill to try to like restrict the options available. I mean, I don't know how much that matters, but probably not.
I would love for the U.S. to get involved, but not in the way that we're going to be involved.
I would like for them to strategically not get involved.
and
also, speaking of burning American flags, this is they're trying to make more people burn American flags with this shit across the world, not just here.
Yeah. Oh yeah. I mean, okay, what is the Israel-Iran conflict? What's been going on over there for the past week and a half? I believe the conflict is one of those countries just sort of starting a war. The
same country that it has always been for fucking decades.
The aggressor.
The aggressor.
Yes. God. Okay, let's read some of these statements. Okay. Iowa U.S. Representative Ashley Hinson said legislative efforts are being considered to sever Iran's financial pathways to nuclear weapons development and financial support of terrorism across the region. Okay, nothing new there. Isn't that just sort of standard operating procedure? Sanctions package. Asked whether the United States should intervene amid growing signs that the U.S. could enter the conflict after Trump demanded Iran's unconditional surrender and that his patience with Iran has already run out. They didn't start this. They didn't do anything. My patience with you has run out, I say, as my strong ally just fucking shoots you.
Yeah. Well, and before this, they were trying to do, Trump was, trying to do, diplomacy with Iran. We're gonna have negotiations about, ending your nuclear program without, violence or whatever. Which was, almost like complete cover for Israel to then go and fucking destroy the entire...
start bombing their capital city. Yeah. Killed a bunch of their scientists and military leaders.
Yeah, I don't think it's plausible that Israel did this without the U.S.'s knowledge that they were planning to do something like that.
Yeah. The Republican from Marion said it is crucial that Iran does not acquire a nuclear weapon and supports the president's pressure campaign to safeguard national security and to implement peace through strength.
Jesus.
That old thing, peace through strength. Right. So how does this help our national security? There's a lot of this in this article where they're like, well, if Iran gets a nuke, they can use it on us. It's like, why though? Why would they want to?
They want it as a deterrent from countries, Israel and the United States from further attacking them. And trying to, I assume that they want regime change. They want they want to install a pro-Western, pro-Israel government in Iran. Yeah. Long term.
Very long term. I mean, that's been the project.
Well, yeah, they've wanted that for, that's a big thing.
Yeah. And would this be happening the way it is right now if Iran actually was as close to having nuclear weapons as they're claiming they are? They being the West is claiming Iran is.
Yeah, it sounds a lot like the justifications for Iraq.
Yeah.
Except it's a country that has, it's like nuclear weapons versus whatever biological weapons they said that Saddam had. A country that has more people, more competent military capability. And we couldn't even win that war. And obviously it was fucking whatever. It's fucking awful. I can't believe it's gotten this far.
Yeah. Israel said we had to do this. This preemptive strike was necessary because they were about to have a nuke. They totally were. And there's no way to prove or disprove that, I don't think.
I think they were, working. It is clear, I think, that they were bombing nuclear facilities in addition to other targets, of course. But again,
they're allowed to have nuclear facilities.
Yeah.
They're just not allowed to develop nuclear weapons.
Yeah.
But I don't fucking know. I mean, there's no reason for them not to, frankly. Like,
right.
And a lot of reasons that they should.
Self-preservation.
Mm-hmm. I believe President Trump will protect our national security and our homeland from terrorist threats, Hinson said. He may decide to take further action to halt Iranian enrichment. I think that decision does belong to the president, but I think people are right to be worried about messy foreign entanglement. Wow,
really?
What a statement.
Brave.
Yeah, you're right to be worried. However, I think the president should make the decision, and doesn't matter if you're worried. If he decides to draft you, you're going. Oh yeah, I was going to ask you this, Evan. If they do reinstate the draft, we're too old now, right?
I think so. I don't know. What is it like, maybe it's like 40?
Fuck.
They can increase the age. I mean,
sure. I mean, if it comes to like reinstating the draft, I mean, I think anything is on the table.
Yeah. Well, 40 is the maximum you can be to enlist in the army.
Okay.
Draft age is 18 to 20, or like the selective service registration is for 18 to 25-year-olds.
Okay. So we're safe. All of this makes me feel very safe. Or maybe they should bring me over there. I think I would be a very smart military leader.
Yeah.
If you send me in there, I'll take care of this real quick.
Oh, I was wrong. It's 35 years old, so I can't even enlist anymore.
Oh, shit.
Fucking missed the opportunity of a lifetime.
Never
gonna get those bennies now. Oh, yeah, you can still do it.
I've got less than 3 months.
Damn.
What happens if a 34-year-old like shows up to the recruitment office and says, "Hey, I want to enlist"?
They accept it, assuming that you pass the bare minimum competency or whatever tests they have.
Okay.
Whatever that test, the IQ test or whatever. I think you could pass.
No, I'm.
And
way
you're pretty
too dumb
physically you're pretty physically fit, right?
I guess. I wouldn't enjoy boot camp, I'll tell you that.
Yeah.
Here's something rational from our senator. While recognizing the seriousness of the threat, Grassley said he prefers negotiation over military action and believes military action should occur only if there is an immediate threat to the United States, which there is not. And I doubt there ever will be.
Right.
There's a lot of stuff about Israel having the right to defend itself among some of these statements. We got, Marionette Miller Meeks talking about Israel defending itself, which again, they initiated the conflict here, as they often do.
Yeah, like they did last year. Remember we talked to Lanon Bakam about it? I confused him very, very much by saying that Israel was the aggressor. Iran has a right to defend itself, I think. Right? I don't
know how you could say that they don't, unless you were like a racist or something, maybe.
Yeah. Or just have like, geopolitical reasons for not wanting them to defend themselves.
Right. Zach Nunn said Trump is right to back Israel with the goal of crushing both Iran's war machine and its nuclear ambitions. Joni Ernst said that a nuclear Iran is a threat to America. Well, yeah, kinda. A threat to our global influence, maybe. Them having a nuke deters us from being able to push them around.
Mm-hmm.
That's a threat. It's a threat to our dominance. We can't allow that. Iran's supreme leader on Wednesday warned that U.S. intervention would cause, quote, irreparable damage, and called Trump's call for Iran's surrender threatening and ridiculous. Which I love. I love that. Our dumbass president is like, I'm calling for your unconditional surrender after this unprovoked attack from your neighbor. How dare you try to defend yourself? I demand you surrender unconditionally. Also, and the guy's just like, that's ridiculous.
That's silly. If you wanted to sell this shit to the American public, like, maybe like don't have your biggest ally doing like genocide for like 2 years straight. Like, I've seen all the polls about like Israel is like the least popular it's ever been. Like, people do not fuck with this shit at all. I don't know. It's hard to say what will happen from here, but I don't think there is really appetite. I mean, other than obviously the fact that there's a bunch of Iran war hawks in the Trump administration who are certainly saying some insane shit, and then Netanyahu doing insane shit. Like, I don't think outside of those two parties, like, I don't think that there is the appetite for increased hostilities. It is basically Israel trying to drag the U.S. into this to defeat one of their biggest rivals.
I don't want to do it.
No, it's fucked.
There is a follow up here from Iowa's News Now. Senator Chuck Grassley explains his position on the Israel-Iran conflict. So more words of wisdom from our elder statesman, Senator Chuck Grassley, 91 years old. He's had an eye on this for a long time, right? So I would imagine he is very familiar with, the complexities and the nuance of the situation, the relationship between Israel and Iran. He's older than the state of Israel. So he's right. Yeah, he knows what's up.
He's also older than the modern state of Iran, too.
Oh, yeah, much older, yeah. He's seen all of this from the beginning. Iowa Senator Chuck Grassley said President Trump and the federal government's first responsibility is the protection of the American people when asked his opinion on the Israel and Iran conflict. The two countries have been trading airstrikes for several days. There's new speculation that President Trump will order U.S. forces to strike against Iranian targets. Trump would not reveal what he plans to do Wednesday morning. Oh, this is so fucking funny. This is a quote from our president. You don't know that I'm going to even do it. You don't know. I may do it. I may not do it. I mean, nobody knows what I'm going to do.
That's epic leadership right there.
Leader of the free world.
Fucking awesome, man. You know, maybe the liberals were right about the Trump always chickens out thing. I mean, maybe they actually got his ass with that.
Hopefully. But I don't want...
I don't want to give him too much credit, and I don't want to, assume that Trump is going to act predictably.
The messaging on that is to goad him into doing bad shit, which is scary to me.
It is,
because it could work. It's the kind of mockery that maybe would have an effect on him and his ego.
Mm-hmm.
Like they were doing that with the tariff stuff. Like, oh, he chickened out. He didn't do the economy destroying policies that he said he would. What a loser. No, don't tell him to do it.
Good point.
Grassley was asked about his position during a call with Iowa reporters on Wednesday. I think of two phrases that Iranian government has made over the last several years. Death to Israel and death to America, Grassley said. Let's isolate some of that. Death to Israel and death to America, Grassley said. Wow, I didn't expect that from him. He went on to say, if they have the capability to delivering hydrogen bombs to the U.S., that needs to be considered a danger to the United States. This thing that you just imagined is if they have the ability to deliver hydrogen bombs to the U.S., that would be considered a danger. Key word there being if, right?
Yeah, but even then, I don't think it doesn't scare me. They have zero reason to use that. Again, it's like entirely for deterrence. It's the only reason that they're pursuing this.
Right. Which is why everyone has them. Everyone who has them, that's why they have them.
Yeah.
You have it, you don't use it. That's the point of these weapons.
Ideally.
We all need to have guns pointed at each other that we never pull the trigger on. And then we're all safe. Right? The commander-in-chief of our military is the President of the United States, and he has a responsibility to protect the national security of the United States. Oh. Nice civics lesson from
That's why he keeps getting reelected, because he drops wisdom nuggets like that all the time.
That's right. He knows the Constitution better than any of us. He wrote it. He wrote part of it.
He was there, yeah.
The senator also said he agreed with Democratic Senator Chuck Schumer, who is now calling on the Trump administration to give classified briefings to all 100 members of the U.S. Senate.
He agree. Hell yeah. Good job, CBS2 Iowa.
He agree. I would applaud Senator Schumer for telling the president to brief us, Grassley said. If it is possible to attend that briefing, I intend to be there.
How much information can he really retain?
Any of the people quoted in that article. Who knows? I like what he said at the end there, like, if the briefing occurs and if it's possible for me to be there, I would like to be there.
Yeah. I would like to know about, U.S. military operations, which, supposed to be authorized by Congress.
Right, yeah. I'm not demanding that I get a vote on it, but at least tell me.
Yeah, just let me know what's up.
I like to think of that last bit as like, when you get to that advanced age and you're talking about future plans, it's always kind of like...
Yeah, it's always up in the air.
I can't commit fully because, I might go to heaven in between now and then.
Yeah. Or it might just be having a bad day,
Well, that's true as well. I might not be able to stand up. But Grassley seems to be in good physical health because he's always running,
Yeah,
jogging.
I mean, he can still talk. He's talking to people, which is...
he seems fine. Like, we make a lot of jokes about his age, but, like, he can communicate and he can physically operate his body.
Yeah, he is doing better now than Dianne Feinstein was for, like, the last 2 or 3 years of her time in office.
Yeah. Yeah, any sort of, like, emptiness to the things that he says or like kind of stupidity to his positions, that's always been there from the beginning. That's not a result of his deteriorating brain. He's always been like this.
Right.
Yeah. He's not in decline. He just has always been bad.
Right.
All right. So we briefly touched on the battle over the Summit pipeline last week, but we didn't really have time to give it its due. So I thought we should spend a little more time on it today. The basic background on this is that the Iowa House and Senate passed this bill that would, let me read some of KCRG's reporting on this from the day that the governor vetoed this bill. Connor Hendricks at KCRG. Or no, actually with KTIV. I don't know. They all share these articles and then I forget what the original source was. But anyway, I'm reading this from KCRG. Iowa Governor Kim Reynolds has vetoed a bill restricting the use of eminent domain for carbon capture pipelines. The bill, known as House File 639, would have required that projects requesting to use eminent domain serve the public's interest. Supporters said the proposed Summit carbon capture pipeline doesn't fit that requirement because it's owned by a private company. Seems pretty cut and dry.
Mm-hmm.
Governor Reynolds, a Republican, says she respects both sides of the issue. And when eminent domain is used, it has to be fair and a last resort. She says this bill goes further than just eminent domain protections and threatens Iowa's economy and energy reliability. She said the bill could impact other pipeline projects that use voluntary easements, and the insurance mandates in the bill could kill that project. In her veto letter, Reynolds said, "I understand this was not the intent." Well, but it was. Sorry to derail already, but it's in the bill. They wrote that bill. That was their intention.
Yeah.
Those who crafted the bill said they don't want to stop CO2 pipelines that rely entirely on voluntary agreements, but that is exactly what this bill does. For that reason alone, I cannot sign it. I mean, this bill did have bipartisan support.
Mm-hmm.
They got, it got a lot of people on board. And I think it's the result of several years of people, like normal Iowa citizens, like coming to events, speaking out about how they don't want this. The purpose of this pipeline is for a billions and billions of dollar energy company grabbing a bunch of land to further enrich themselves. That's the point of this all, right?
Yeah. And like further enshrine ethanol as an energy source.
Right. It's being sold. I don't think anyone buys this at this point, but it's sold as like, this is a cleaner solution. This helps us produce energy in a more environmentally friendly way. but it doesn't really do that. It really just serves to, again, use the land to extract more wealth for a private energy interest.
Yeah. And then there's, I don't know. I think the Summit pipeline, they haven't, there isn't like, some of the CO2 pipelines they're proposing are like, we're going to just bury it underground, basically. But I do not believe that the Summit project has that. Like, there is no requirement for what they're doing with the CO2, which, like we've talked about, can be used for enhanced energy recovery or whatever, where they basically use it for fracking.
Fracking, right.
Yeah.
Yeah, and the pipeline would run through, like, some smaller communities, and, like, here's what I think is going to happen. I think that there's going to be bored teenagers out there in rural Iowa. And much like the opioid epidemic, cheap drugs, bored, shitty place to live. These kids are going to start huffing carbon. They're going to huff carbon. That's the result of all these pipelines, is a bunch of young people addicted to carbon. Yeah,
I mean, oxygen deprivation can get you high.
Yeah. This is to me, this is a threat that's been sort of it hasn't been talked about very much, that this is just going to get kids hooked on carbon from a young age. And we're going to be dealing with the consequences years down the line. Talk to your kids about carbon abuse. If you're listening to this and you have kids. All right. So, all right. Everyone kind of thought she was going to veto this anyway, right? Like, there was a long battle to get it even passed in the first place by the legislature. And she was kind of hemming and hawing about it for a while before ultimately vetoing it. And that was a signal that, she's probably not going to sign this.
Yeah, I was going to say, it's interesting the rhetoric on stuff like that, Republicans are totally on board with, is just like, fuck you, we're doing it. And then it's like, when it comes to this, it's like, well, I do see both sides of the issue, but like, it's very funny, the contrast there.
Yeah. There's a great piece by Paul Brennan in Little Village from last week, in the immediate aftermath of the veto. His headline is "Spitting in the Face of Landowners. Iowa House Republicans denounce Reynolds' veto of eminent domain bill, call for special session to override it." And I'll just briefly say, the latest news I saw on that was, as of yesterday, Iowa House Speaker Pat Grassley had successfully secured 70 signatures on a petition to convene a special legislative session to override the veto. However, the Senate is not really playing ball with that, so it's unlikely to happen, but the House is pretty eager to override the veto.
Republicans in disarray.
That's right. It's chaos. So my favorite part of this was there's a lot of quotes from Iowa Republicans who are really mad at Reynolds, and it's fun. It's fun to see them fight, These people have total dominance over our state's politics, so to see them vehemently disagree with each other and get like so pissed is cool. It's nice to see that they're not all in lockstep. There's some fracturing here. Like you said, they're in disarray. There's an opening here, right? We can pit them against each other, maybe. Kim Reynolds has failed the state of Iowa. Representative Bobby Kaufman told Radio Iowa, Kim Reynolds has soiled her legacy, and her legacy is now spitting in the face of landowners and being Bruce Rastetter's errand girl. Bobby Kaufman is Jeff Kaufman's son. Jeff Kaufman runs the state party. He, as far as I know, has not said anything about this. Fucking wimp. He's scared.
He always is saying shit, too. That's another thing.
I know,
He's always saying some crazy shit. But when it comes to this...
He doesn't want to cross Summit.
Yeah, mum's the word.
Bruce Rastetter, by the way, the guy... When we went to the state fair a couple years ago, RFK Jr. was
Bruce
talking about...
Rastetter.
He was talking about Bruce Rastetter, so maybe the federal government could intervene here, since we have... was he pretending to care about that?
Yeah, I think so.
Was he trying to pander to Iowans who didn't want to?
It kind of works. We were kind of into it.
It was working on me, yeah. There's more quotes here that I wanted to read. This is a great piece by Paul, but I'm not going to read all of it. You're going to have to pull it up for yourself, listeners. Yeah, Steve Holt. This is the one I wanted to get to. So he's really mad about this. He wrote a long Facebook post. It's not that long. He wrote a Facebook post about this. Steve Holt, famously the architect of stripping civil rights protections from trans people in Iowa this legislative session, which no pushback among Iowa Republicans. They all, like you were saying, just fuck you, signed. No acknowledgement of the opposition to the bill. Anyway, Steve Holt. He wrote on Facebook on June 11th, shortly after the veto. Governor Reynolds, in your veto explanation of Landowner Protection Bill, House File 639, you stated, while I shared the bill's goal of protecting landowners, good policy should draw clear, careful lines. This bill doesn't. It combines valid concerns with vague legal standards and sweeping mandates that reach far beyond their intended targets. And there's certainly no other bills she signed this year that could apply to.
Not at all.
Vague legal standards and sweeping mandates. I haven't seen any of those come from the Iowa State Legislature the past couple of years. You also said you were, quote, committed to working with the legislature to strengthen landowner protections, modernize permitting, and respect private property. Really? Where have you been for the last 3+ years? Where are your ideas? Where are your bills? Where has been your leadership if you share the goal of protecting landowners? Well, she doesn't. She doesn't care about this. By the way, do you think this is why she announced she's not running for re-election? Because she knew she was about to have to veto this bill and piss everyone off?
I mean, I think it very well could have played a part in her decision.
I think it's part of it. Like, the pipeline thing has been bubbling up for the past several years. Like, since the pipeline was proposed, and there's been sort of like a grassroots opposition to it. Mm-hmm. And, you know, it's been building and building. Like, finally, it reaches a point where they're passing a bill. And she's like, well, I can't go any further than this. All right, Steve writes, I have been front and center in this fight for over 3 years. I alerted you over 3 years ago about the importance of this issue after attending a landowner meeting in Shelby County. I sent you pictures, discussed it in a phone call. What were the pictures of?
It's like a beautiful farm, beautiful idyllic Grant Wood farm. You want to put a pipeline through this?
Mm-hmm. No, this land is for CAFOs only.
Yeah,
no
this
pipeline.
land is for hog shit central.
We need mountains and mountains of animal feces here. We don't want that image, that beautiful view, sullied by a big white cylinder.
Yeah.
During the 3 years and 4 bills advanced by the House to protect landowners, I never heard from you or your office. During subcommittee, committee, and floor debate on House File 639, I never heard from you or your office. Not once. Never once did I hear the concerns voiced in your veto message. I heard from your office on many other bills, but on this issue, nothing. How exactly, then, did your commitment to protect landowners manifest itself? While being publicly silent on this issue and providing no leadership over a 3-year period, you appointed an individual to the Iowa Utilities Commission that by many accounts changed rules, ignored precedent, and subverted the process to favor Summit. And I don't remember the specifics of that, but I vaguely recall that being a point of contention during this long battle. Actions speak louder than words, and your actions over the course of the last 3 years betray your words. You had 3 years, Governor. 3 years. Your legacy, betrayal. He should have filmed himself delivering this speech.
In a car. That's the kind of speech that you give in a car.
Sunglasses.
Yeah.
So he's very mad. That's kind of respectful, though. You know, like, he didn't really say anything like out of pocket in that speech. Or not, it's not even a speech, it's just a Facebook post. Pat Grassley, even more, just sort of like, this veto is a major setback. It is a setback not only for landowners who have been fighting across Iowa, but for the work the House of Representatives has put in for 4. It's like, you know, I don't like this. He doesn't even say anything like, you know, fuck you for betraying us. Mm-hmm. Senate Majority Leader Jack Woodford basically says that, like, yeah, we're not going to be able to override this. I don't think he personally gives a shit about it either. Here's the real one. This is the good one. I vow today to work against and kill every single bill she comes up with because I no longer trust her judgment. Representative Bobby Kaufman said during his interview with Radio Iowa. This is the one I like. Like, he's not
Scorched
he's not
earth.
mincing words.
Yeah.
Yeah.
I will poison the ground that the legislature exists upon. I will drown
I will chain
out
the doors closed.
I will suffocate these bills with carbon dioxide.
Oh yeah, and Paul of Little Village notes that Bobby Kaufman's father, as we said, hasn't really said anything about this, but he did dig into the archives here. In 2006, he goes into how overriding a governor's veto is very rare in Iowa. I think it's rare everywhere, but you know.
Yeah.
So I think the last time this happened was in 2006. The legislature held a special session in July to override a veto by Governor Tom Vilsack. Oh, and that was the first time in 40 years they had reconvened to override a veto. So long stretches of time between this happening. The bill in question involved property rights and the use of eminent domain. And here's a quote. Eminent domain being used as a tool in the economic development toolbox is like going duck hunting with a bazooka. And who said that? Then Representative Jeff Kaufman. So, back when he was in the legislature, he was willing to use flowery metaphors like duck hunting with a bazooka. But now that he's in charge of the party, he's not. He's staying silent on the issue. Cowardly. And then I also I looked through some recent pieces on the Iowa Standard about this, because the Iowa Standard is kind of like the home base of this, like the far right in Iowa.
Mm-hmm. There's a lot of them. There's a lot of fucking articles, or, you know,
Yeah.
more representatives and senators posting about it.
Yes. Because they know that their constituents are like going to be mad about this.
Mm-hmm.
Just a brief overview here. We got Representative Thompson, who wrote a piece that's the headline is Reynolds' veto shows she is solidly on board with Team Cabal. I think it's David Pouch. Yeah, David Pouch, who's primarying Marionette Miller Meeks. He did last cycle as well. He wrote a piece headlined Reynolds' veto a betrayal of the people. Government sanctioned theft. Senator Sandy Salmon, governor vetoes property rights. And Brad Sherman, who is running for governor as a Republican, the eminent domain battle and the condition of the Republican Party in Iowa. Which of those sounds most fun? I like Team Cabal. That sounds pretty cool.
Yeah, I like Team Cabal.
Let's learn about Team Cabal.
There's another letter to the editor here. Mm-hmm. It says, if Rob Sand becomes identified with any override of the governor's veto, he will become the next Iowa governor. Yeah,
that's... thank you for pulling that up. I forgot that I had that in here. That was written by Dusty Westbrook of Warren County. Dusty Westbrook.
Now, I don't know if Rob Sand has really said anything about pipelines at all.
Yeah.
I think he might be on Team Cabal, actually.
Yeah, Dusty, I don't think you have anything to worry about there. Rob Sand identifying himself with any ideological issue,
position,
not going to happen. It's not going to happen.
Not yet. They got 2 years to roll out policy, all right?
Yeah.
It's not something you do before you decide you run for governor at all.
Listen, 18 months. We got 18 months to decide what I believe.
Yeah.
But this does bring up an interesting point. He is trying to portray himself as the, what did he call himself? The fence remover. Remember that?
Yeah,
the fence remover. He is not solidly red or blue. He wants to represent all Iowans. Well, what's a major issue in this state that people on both sides of the partisan divide are largely in agreement on?
Yeah.
It's this. This is it, right?
Right.
If he were really embodying this sort of like nonpartisan standard bearer that he claims to be, this would be a major issue in his campaign. Mm-hmm. Because largely the people it would affect in Iowa, not elected officials, not like people who have investments in the energy companies, but just the people who live here are pretty much in agreement that they oppose this. Far right, far left, and everyone in between, they don't really want this to happen. So, Rob, seems like even if you don't genuinely care about this, just strategy-wise, it seems like it would be something that you should be on board with. So why, then, hasn't he said anything about it?
We'll let you decide.
Okay, let's learn about Team Cabal real quick. Representative Charlie Thompson released the following statement following Governor Reynolds' veto of the House file. Today is a dark day for Iowa's citizens and their rights under the Iowa and United States constitutions. And I don't remember if this comes up in this press release, but I saw in a few of these that the Iowa GOP party platform contains basically the contents of that bill that she just vetoed. It was
Yeah, it does. The rank and file are united.
Yeah, today Iowa's chief executive was faced with a choice between supporting legitimate private property rights and supporting a ruthless cabal of politicians intent on a reckless, unsafe, and illegal pipeline project. We now know that Governor Reynolds is solidly on board with Team Cabal. Nice.
That's awesome. Yeah, and he's also capitalizing Team Cabal. Like it's like a baseball team.
Yes. Random capitalization is always good.
I love it.
Although his capitalization all seems to be mostly proper nouns. So it's not like Trump style random capitalization.
Yeah.
Further, Iowans should not take heart from the soft purring words in today's veto message. The excuses trotted out about insurance concerns are just polite window dressing for the real message. She will oppose and veto any bill that Summit Carbon Solutions dislikes. And if that means trashing the rights of every landowner in the state, that's just too bad. I'm going to skip to the end here. Finally, I would like to correct the record on one point. In her veto message, the governor made reference to the intent of the legislation. I find this interesting since I drafted the bill, and neither the governor nor any member of her staff contacted me about any provision of House File 639. So that seems to be across the board part of the messaging is that she was completely hands off for the entire legislative process of this bill. And then right at the end is like, well, this is concerning.
Yeah. Almost like she knew what she was going to do the entire time.
Yeah, I think that she knew the contents of the bill probably from the beginning.
Yeah.
and like the governor's office and the legislators have been pretty collaborative on like every other thing that has been signed into law the past couple of years. Like all of their education reforms have been like basically dictated by her. So they talk often about these other issues, it seems. But it's a priority to like give a bunch of money to private schools. It's a priority to terrorize trans people. It is not a priority to stop a major energy company from making a shitload of money by exploiting our land. In fact, the opposite would be the priority. Let them do that.
Yeah.
Actually, this Brad Sherman piece, let me read a little bit from that because I found that interesting as well. Again, this is the guy who declared he was running for governor as a Republican before Kim Reynolds revealed that she was not going to run for re-election. So he had the courage to run against her in a primary, the incumbent. But he is definitely the Iowa standard candidate. Like he is, further right, a more committed ideological conservative guy.
Do you think maybe he decided to run knowing that she was going to veto this bill? I think be his like angle.
Yeah, I think that this was probably central to all of the political decision making for the past year.
Yeah,
was like the inevitable passage of this bill was going to like blow up a lot of the political relationships. Now, his framing here, I want to ask you about. The 2022 election brought in a strong contingent of constitutional conservative Republicans, and the 2024 election strengthened that trend. The Iowa House leadership recognized that shift and worked with it. As a result, the Iowa House, as a body, moved more conservative on many issues, including House File 639, to protect property rights from unconstitutional eminent domain. The 2022 and 2024 elections also increased the number of strong constitutional conservative Republicans in the Senate, but Senate leadership did not respond, as did the House leadership. They tried to maintain the status quo control of the Senate and did not adjust to the more conservative shift among its members. It has also been a common opinion that the governor and Senate leadership were in lockstep. This is confirmed by the governor's veto of House File 639. And then, okay, this is the part of the framing that I'm curious how true this is. Iowa is getting more conservative and is moving more toward a constitutional republic as established by our founders and as guaranteed by Article 4, Section 4 of the United States Constitution. As the next governor of Iowa, I intend to oversee the continued growth of conservative values in our state and make sure that growth is reflected in the governor's office. Okay, now I can't argue that the results of the last couple elections have brought in more, ideologically committed, zealous conservatives to the state government. Does that necessarily mean that the people of Iowa, the citizens as a whole, are getting more conservative?
I don't think so. I think there's a lot more to it than that. I mean, it's really, there's only two choices and they're both bad. And people make them for one reason or another. That doesn't necessarily imply that they are like ideologically on board with all of the above that, the leaders believe or push.
Right.
I don't know. I feel like a lot of people are like intent on the idea that like people are totally cemented in their ideologies. And I don't think that's the case. I think there's a lot of room for maybe if there was some kind of alternative to either of these options, then maybe we might see people's ideologies.
A more like affirmative vision of something else. Part of what I was thinking was like, I think that growing apathy and lack of faith in the government as a whole has resulted in more electing more conservatives. It doesn't necessarily mean like every other person you encounter out there is like a dedicated Republican now.
Yeah, well, they're the ones who are telling us that the government fucking sucks and is awful, and that's an appealing message because it does fucking suck and it is awful. Right.
Yeah, they're not wrong about that, and yeah, this pipeline thing should be an opportunity for realignment, I would think, for anyone who has the ambition and the goal of like a more, I don't know, a more positive political future. But unfortunately, the people with the means are either cowards or they have financial incentives to not play a role in this fight.
Yeah.
Back to the guy who we were talking about a few minutes ago. That's really who I'm directing that towards. Upset. Do you think we covered that pipeline thing well enough?
I don't. It's a good topic. I'm sure it'll come up again.
Yeah. I always feel stupid talking about it because like I don't retain like really any of the science behind it.
Yeah, we haven't. Well, I don't know. We've talked about it in the past.
Yeah. But we gotta have like smarter guests on to really do that topic justice, which we have done in the past.
Yeah, we have.
Who hasn't listened to our back catalog. This won't take much time, but I do want to acknowledge something cool happening in my neck of the woods. I'm reading Amy Rivers' piece in Iowa Starting Line. Tenants Union in Johnson County unveils demands on owner Haven Park. And so this is not an issue that is isolated to here. This, I think, is a broader trend around the country that mobile home parks are being purchased by these sort of like big real estate conglomerates or whatever. And as usually happens. They just, hike up all the fees that they charge on the residents, and like living conditions get worse for the people who live there. Prices go up, quality of life goes down because a private business has taken an interest in exploiting you. And so here in Johnson County, the Johnson County Residents United, a tenants union, has been working on a list of demands for Haven Park, which is the company that purchased their community, which isn't that crazy. Like, a company can just like buy a neighborhood is basically how this works out.
Yeah.
Fucking weird. And so a couple of these demands are: residents are calling on Haven Park to institute a 2-year moratorium on lot rent increases, and the park owners must provide clean, safe, drinkable water.
It's a big one.
That seems like that would be like illegal not to do that, right?
You would hope.
Shouldn't there maybe be some government intervention here?
Yeah.
Essential park maintenance and responsive on-site management in all parks. Haven Park owns 5 parks in Iowa City, and they're not an outlier. The majority of Johnson County parks are now owned by out-of-state companies or private equity groups. So, again, this is not an isolated issue. It's a trend that's getting worse. Because what's more lucrative than capturing a bunch of poor people and just, like, extracting as much of their money out of them as you can?
Yeah, for sure. I mean, if you don't want to have any kind of landlord, but you'd rather have just like a guy as your landlord instead of, I mean, depending on the guy, of course, but generally you want to have a guy instead of like some kind of completely unaccountable, like a guy you can put a face to, name and a face to, in case
preferably
you need to speak to them.
He lives nearby.
Yeah, and he lives, preferably in the same community, right. Like preferably on site. Yeah. Which doesn't happen often, but
yeah, with a like a mobile home park, that's how it should be. Like, you should have a Jim Leahy there.
Yeah, right. Jim Leahy.
Say what you will about him, but he was a better guy to deal with than like this out of state company who's perfected the art of making your life worse for profit. That's the entire business model.
Yeah.
So yeah, I just wanted to acknowledge that the Johnson County Residents United, very cool thing that they're doing here, standing up to this company that's, again, only purpose is to make their lives worse. So I'm glad that they're coming together to talk about that and hopefully defeat them. Defeat the enemy there. Yeah,
it's a good trend. I've been seeing a lot of stuff about tenants unions winning. And it's a really good trend. Yeah,
that was just a press conference that they did the other day. But, it's made the news. Hopefully these demands get a lot of attention. Hopefully us mentioning it on the show helps with that goal. All right, we don't have a ton of time left to work with here, but I do want to acknowledge at least one small part of this article. J.D. Scholten, who is running for Senate, maybe against Joni Ernst, maybe not. Maybe she's not running. I don't know. Rumors are flying around. But yeah, Scholten will be running in the Democratic primary against Zach Walz, who we talked about quite a bit last week, and
Farmers over
Nathan Sage, what would I call him? The Maverick of the race?
Yeah, he's the John McCain.
Yeah.
He's kind of the Fetterman, but
yeah.
Though I'm not just in like his appeal, not in like necessarily that he is a Fetterman.
Hopefully not. Hopefully
we
don't know enough about him really to say that. Sorry, a sneeze has been building up for like a full minute, and
I hate that.
I guess I'm not going to sneeze. I'm just going to feel like I have to sneeze. Okay. So we haven't talked a ton about J.D. Scholten. But he was interviewed by Russell Payne for Salon earlier this week. And, first thing I want to note is that when you interview somebody and it's going to be released as like a written piece, it's helpful to do like the initials thing before each statement, so you know who fucking said this. The whole thing is just straight text, top to bottom. So you just kind of like, I guess if it ends in a question mark, that was probably Russell Payne that said that, right?
That's fucked up, man.
It's like, it's not marked like what's the interviewer and what's the interviewee. Who said what? Did you just let AI take care of this? I don't know.
I was thinking the same thing.
Yeah. But yeah, Schulten is a minor league baseball pitcher for the Sioux City Explorers. Sioux City Explorers.
Yeah, and we had someone comment that he has heat. He's got some fucking heat in his toolbox. He's throwing high 80 fastballs, which like respect, man. That's cool.
Yeah, he's what? He's in his 40s, right?
Yeah, he's like 45.
Certainly faster than I can throw a baseball. Okay, he pitches himself pitching. Right? Get it? He's pitching himself.
Good shit.
as a Lena Khan Democrat, hoping that the former FTC commissioner's brand of antitrust populism can help him flip a seat in the Midwest. Which, yeah, if you were to choose any Democratic appointee of the past few years, I guess if you're going to brand yourself with one of them, Lena Khan's probably a good one to go with.
That's good. Yeah. No complaints there.
I don't know that most people you say that to are going to know what you're talking about.
Yeah, know what the fuck you're talking about.
But I think, okay, cool. Yeah, it signals something positive to me.
Yeah. It signals that you're maybe a little bit more oppositional to the powers that be. Yeah.
And he says here, so there's really one small bit of this that I really want to get to, but let me just give this piece its due a little bit. The interviewer asked him about the Joni Ernst "We're All Gonna Die" thing, of course. And something I thought was interesting about this, he's talking about how there's like a Ray Gun t-shirt. People are like, this, her saying this is like, a lot of people are talking about it's a big talking point among everyday people. Interviewer says, so it's safe to say people are thinking about it? And JD says, yeah, so here's the thing. I play professional baseball and my teammates are 20 years younger than me. These are dudes who aren't that linked to politics, and so it was interesting for them to come up to me. They just saw Iowa and politics and saw it go viral and asked me, what's up with this? So that's kind of an interesting thing about him, is that he is in regular contact with people who are not like plugged in, which is probably not the case for Zach Walls.
Yeah, for sure. Yeah, and that's a good thing to be. I mean, I think maybe a minor role to play in why Democrat politics have gone so poorly. But yeah, I don't think many politicians are speaking to, or, like they might be speaking to them in like campaign event, town hall type environments, but like he's one of the guys. This is one of the fellas.
Right.
He's on the team.
Well, Zach Walls does have poker night with the boys. We can't discount that.
That's right. Yeah, and I'm sure Nathan Sage has his battle buddies.
Yeah, they're devil dogs. He and his devil dogs.
Yeah, he and his devil dog buddies.
Okay, this is what I really wanted to get to. This is the most important part of this to me. Russell Payne, the interviewer, says, "Let me ask you a slightly parallel question." And this was parallel because he's talking about the economy, basically, and how regular people can see that everything that affects them in the American economy is broken in some way. All right, Russell Payne. I've been reporting on some of the Welcome Fest stuff out of Washington. I'm wondering if people in Iowa talk to you about abundance, and if that's something that they're excited about.
No one is talking about abundance unless you're getting paid a bunch of money as a consultant or something.
Yeah. Schulten
or you're
responds,
Ezra Klein.
No one in Iowa talks to me about abundance. There you go. Perfect. These are the people who need to be interviewed, is people who will tell you this is irrelevant. This is not a concern to anyone normal. I've seen the argument on social media. I think there's room for it, but at the same time, when you don't talk about corporate greed and the corporate influence on a lot of this stuff, I think you're missing the point. So if you had to choose between abundance or populism, I'd lean on the populist side. I really haven't had any constituents or anything talk to me about it, but I know that there's a debate out there. Right. It's not a real debate. This is consultants who already are in positions of authority over like the policy debate versus everyone else who doesn't pay attention to that.
Yeah. It's like abundance is just like working backwards. Like, oh, people want cheaper housing. People think that they pay too much for housing. Well, how can we appeal to them? Well, we're going to deregulate housing and that's going to make it cheaper. And then you're going to want to vote for us. Like, that's not how it works.
Yeah. Abundance. Yeah. I'm glad that he opened that with, yeah, no one has ever talked to me about that.
Yeah.
No one cares about that. What? So yeah, I guess I kind of like JD Scholten. I don't know.
Yeah, this is pretty good stuff. I mean, we never really had anything negative to say about him in the past when he was running for Congress.
No. He's known because he almost beat Steve King once.
Right.
Like, I mean, good on him for running and like doing well. How much of that was due to him versus the newspaper saying, look at this Nazi thing Steve King said to me?
Right.
Like, Steve King kind of fucked himself out of that one. But anyway. Oh, and by the way, our friend in the 4th district, our friend Ryan Melton, he announced that he will not be running again. So, to one of the few congressional candidates to ever deign to speak with Rock Hard Caucus, we salute you, Ryan.
Yeah.
You fought well in a difficult situation.
I'm surprised you didn't mention the name of this article, the headline, which is...
Yeah, what did I skip there?
Well, this is a quote from J.D. Scholten. I'm the only Democrat in 42 counties in northwest and north central Iowa. I consider myself a blueberry in a bowl of tomato soup. Now, I don't know if that's, like, appetizing.
Yeah, I consider myself gross.
I consider myself a weird thing that doesn't go with the rest of the state. But
I think no one has ever said.
But that is 100% better than redder and bluer, better and truer.
It's true.
He's saying, I'm at least identifying as something. I know that I'm out of step with, like, the, greater politics. But
yeah,
he's a blueberry. And blueberries are delicious. So, I like that.
Yeah. In honor of J.D. Scholten, for lunch today, I will be eating a bowl of tomato soup with one blueberry in it.
One single blueberry.
We'll see how it tastes.
He needs like a restaurant deal. You know how, like, they do food based on politicians and stuff?
Yeah.
Yeah. Bowl of tomato soup with one blueberry in it.
They can serve that at the stadiums when he's playing.
Yeah.
It's a nice
that's a really good
summer treat.
Ballpark meal.
It could be gazpacho, it could be cold tomato soup. Do they often serve soup at the baseball games?
I don't think so. I think that would be a problem.
Yeah.
Especially tomato soup. That's gonna stain everything if you spill it.
It's true. And baseball uniforms are white, usually.
Well, the players aren't usually eating. Well, maybe in the bullpen, or maybe in the dugout.
I would say the players aren't usually white.
Oh, no.
I don't know why I thought you were going to say that. Okay. That's enough. That's been Rock Hard Caucus, our 203rd episode. Thanks for listening. Thank you, Evan, for co-hosting as always. If you out there have something to say to us based on anything we said today, or anything we've said in the past, or anything you imagined that we said, we didn't actually say it, but you thought we said it and it animated you in some way, and you want to respond, you can call us at 319-849-8733. That is a voicemail inbox. It is not a live hotline. We're not going to answer it, but you can talk to us uninterrupted for a maximum of 3 minutes. 319-849-8733. Day or night, you can call and we won't answer. But the voicemail you leave may make an appearance on Rock Hard Call Us, one of our mini series available at patreon.com/rockhardcaucus. Some of those other series are Dobrain Book Club, which just started up again. Evan and I and our friend Eden are covering Joseph Dobrian's third novel, Hardwired. And we just got through the first part of it. That was on our Patreon just the other day. Hardwired, episode 1 of the new Doughbrain Book Club series. Check it out. How did you feel about that, Evan?
Well, there's some interesting character development on Mr. Joe Brain. That's a good, Joe Brain. I like that. Anyway, now the podcast is to go on for 2 hours, and I also didn't read the book, so it became a bit of a slog. But some good factoids about Joe, and I'm curious to see where the rest of the book leads.
Yeah. Now, listeners, you may not know who that is, Joseph Jobrian, but that's by design. That's kind of the point of the series. It's like, why are we spending so much time on the works of this one weird guy? Well, it's because he's so weird and fascinating. He's a very interesting individual.
Yeah. We don't agree with him, but he's at least, he's something.
Yeah. And now that he has passed away, we're in charge of his legacy. So we have to keep doing it. And also, another Patreon series, Speed Freak Read Speak, will be recording a new episode of that in just a couple of days. So you'll be getting that soon at patreon.com/rockhardcaucus. Evan will be making his first appearance on Speed Freak Read Speak.
I will. I feel like I asked Justin, did you just ask me to do this because I said that every Mario game is better than every Sonic game? Like every iteration of Mario? And he did not confirm or deny that. So I feel like I might be getting ambushed or something.
Well, you'll find out.
You and days. Tony ganging up on me.
Yeah. All right, we're going to close with some local music, as always. Just today is Friday. You're listening to this on Sunday or later, but a new compilation was released, a compilation put together by Aaron Longoria of Early Girl, who I have interviewed on I Hear I See Radio, so you've maybe heard from Aaron before. But this compilation is called Always Here, a compilation of sounds from Iowa. You can find it at alwayshearcomp.bandcamp.com. It features a bunch of trans artists who live here in Iowa. And all the proceeds from this compilation are going to the Iowa Trans Mutual Aid Fund, which we've been mentioning pretty regularly on our podcast, as there is a great need for a mutual aid fund for trans people in Iowa. You can go to iowatransmutualaidfund.org, donate yourself if you like, if you don't want to buy the compilation, but there's some great music on it. And it features multiple people who have been on this podcast, such as Marzo Helia, Storm O'Brink, Alejandro Murguia Ortiz. Mm-hmm. So it's, Keenan Crow right there. It's very much related to the Rock Hard family. So check it out. Alwayshearcomp.bandcamp.com. And we're going to close with the Mopium song on here, which is called Mix Wrong. How do you say that? That neutral, it's not Mr. or Mrs., but it's MX. Mix? I've never had to say it out loud, I've just seen it in text.
What's that superhero villain, Mr. Mixelpix or whatever?
Yeah, the Superman guy, the little imp. Mr. Mixapitlick.
Yeah. I assume you say it like that.
Mixapitlick, wrong.
Yeah.
But it's a good song. Pop punk kind of thing from Kane. Who's also in Death Kill Overdrive, who I've mentioned as my favorite local band before. Anyway, I'm rambling now, but enjoy the new song from Mopium. It's on the Always Here compilation, and that's the end of the show.
Okay. Thank you.
Bye.